Good morning, this is Steve Campbell at KOWS 107.3 FM. We are in Occidental, California. I am so glad that you've joined us today. In fact, I'm thrilled that you've joined us today because today we're going to be talking to Inga, and I just had breakfast with her. I met her the first time today, and she is amazing. So sit back and enjoy one of the most amazing people I've ever met. And so welcome to KOWS. We stream on the World Wide Web at www.kows.fm. Our station phone number, if you'd like to talk to us, is 707-874-1073. Our office phone number is 707-874-9090. Or you can email us at KOWS, KOWS at sonic.net. Send donations to KOWS, P.O. Box 1073, Occidental, California, 95465. The name of my program is Your Amazing Mind, and the reason that I like to spend time with you every Wednesday morning is just to share with you some of the amazing discoveries that we've made about the mind. The most prominent message that I tell my audiences is the fact that while I'm talking to you, you're talking to yourself thousands of times faster. Now that's interesting, but what's amazing is this. While you're talking to yourself, while you are saying things to yourself, your brain is believing everything you tell it, without question. Ew. So when you say, this is just too hard, you know what your brain says? Okay. And then it actually makes it hard. When you say, this is so easy, you know what your brain says? Okay. And then becomes obsessed with finding ways to make it easy. Now, is what you're saying true? Did you know your brain doesn't even care? Your brain doesn't even ask that question. All it cares about is what you tell it. And today we're going to have Inga, and I'm going to have her pronounce her last name because I have trouble with it. And I met Inga just today. We've been in contact for a couple of weeks now, but I asked her to come in and talk to us about who she is, what she's done, and so we're just going to get right into talking to Inga. So Inga, I'm so glad that you're here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Whoops, sorry.
Let's do this.
There you go.
Okay. Good to be with you, Steven. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. Well, I always let her start with just tell me about yourself. So let's start with that, okay?
Yes, sure. I was born in Vilnius, Lithuania. It's a Baltic country, Eastern Europe. We border with Poland, Russia, Belarus, Baltic Sea. So I'm literally from across the globe.
Okay.
And I still have my parents alive, both alive, mom and dad. I have my brother who is 3 years older.
Are they still back there?
They're still back there.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So why did I ask you to come here today? Let's just get right into that.
I think to share the story and what empowered me to do what I have done after the car accident.
So let's talk about that. Can we just get right into that? Because I just don't want to wait.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I worked at the international airport until I was 22. So I started working at the airport, followed my dad's steps. When I was 19, I became employed, and then when I was 21 or so, I transferred into the business lounge, and so I had the best life ever.
Your father was a commercial airline pilot.
He was a
wasn't
pilot,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
And then he was a security director at the airport itself. So I fell in love with it since my childhood,
Yeah.
and I was so proud of him. And I wanted to kind of continue his legacy, and I worked there, and I had the best of everything, and I had lots of friends and good life, fun, easy. I would consider it was an easy life. And then when I was 22 years old, that's where everything crashed. I woke up in the intensive care unit on the verge of death.
What happened?
My
car accident.
boyfriend and I, we were partying one night, and then he was racing, and so he was driving 100 miles an hour on the icy road down the hill, right in the downtown of Vilnius City, and so apparently he lost the control of the car, and we hit the light pole.
Oh my gosh.
And it was devastating. The car broke into two pieces like a piece of cake, and he was ejected out of the car, and he was killed instantly. And some parts of the car, they cut my legs in the car. And they got me out already unconscious, barely alive. It was a miracle that I actually survived the crash. So
what happened to your legs?
They were severed. They were cut.
So you don't have legs?
I don't have legs. I lost both of my legs right there, and I was injured throughout the body. I had a severe head injury, neck injury. My whole jaw was completely smashed. I couldn't even speak. I couldn't eat. My hand was broken. Left hand got paralyzed.
So you have no legs and your left hand is paralyzed?
Paralyzed up to this day. Yeah. So I woke up in a pretty dreadful world after having it all. I know
you
the
literally
cost of
lost
the loss.
it all.
Everything that I
everything
valued.
that you held precious.
Everything.
You lost
Absolutely.
it all.
Yeah. Except, I was blessed. My family and my friends, whom I considered to be my faithful, true friends, they remained to be faithful. So I was grateful for that. That's what my faith and my family, that's what carried me through the most difficult time. But I lost it all. Absolutely. I lost completely my independence. I couldn't even roll over in bed. I could not sit up from the lying position. I could not eat by myself. My mom was smashing, she was cooking and then smashing into puree, and then she was feeding me through the straw.
Through a straw, yeah. I had the same experience.
You did?
I was in an accident the same way, yeah.
Yeah, so it was pretty devastating. I woke up in a world that I never knew.
You're talking about the, quote, faith. Could you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's going to be one of the central subjects of our chat today. What do you mean by faith?
Yes, faith is actually the foundation of my life. It's the core of my life. Many people, and actually I was also like among those people, right, who consider, when you talk about God, a lot of times people treat God and faith in God as some fairy tale. God is some mystical being who is out there, maybe.
He's out there somewhere.
Right. Prayer, well, yeah, maybe people pray a lot of times, but it's more like last hope, and they don't really rely on the prayer. They just pray to make themselves feel better. But they don't really rely on the prayer. They don't really think it has the power.
Or results or anything, yeah.
Or, like a lot of times I watch people, they go to God and ask for the prayer only when it's desperate, only when they get into trouble, they have difficult time, when they cannot handle themselves. Only then they think of God. To me, the Lord is the core of my life. To me, the Lord is as real as you are. I don't start my day without prayer. See, I was put, after the car accident, I was put in the position where I had nothing else left and to count on but the miracle of God. And I prayed, and I truly, with my all essence, I believed that, Lord, you are all powerful, and my situation is so desperate that no people, no money, nothing could help me. Nothing. Actually, the circumstances around me screamed, your life is done. You are done.
And
this
everyone
is the
else
end.
probably said the same thing.
Yeah. I heard, well, such a poor thing, probably this is your destiny, implying that I have to live imprisoned life, disabled. Yeah. Right? I heard also that God has punished me.
You heard that too,
yeah. I heard many, interesting comments, and I said, no. This is not my destiny. I will create the destiny that I desire. And I know that with God's help, I will be able to do it. the faith was the only thing that gave me hope, and that's what maintained me, carried me through the hardest times that I did not want another day to come. There were times when I envied my boyfriend that he was not alive anymore, that he did not go through the anguish that I had to go through. Right. Yeah. So, yes, faith, Jesus Christ is my rock.
Jesus Christ.
He's the one.
So when you talk about God, you're really talking about Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I had a supernatural experience when I was on the verge of death. And that's, I had the presence of my Lord right in front of me. And that's what gave me understanding that he's not just a religious figure. He's not just some historical fairy tale. Jesus Christ is real alive in the spirit. We just don't see him, but he is present. And I have literally countless testimonies, stories when my prayer in the name of Jesus Christ were answered. Like those coincidences that are pretty incredible in my life are not just some mere coincidence. They are literally the answer to the prayer. Yeah, so it's faith is my foundation. Everything else I build on it.
And I have a feeling that for next hour we're going to be talking a lot about that, I think.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was in the same situation when I was 19. I was in this horrible accident where a boy tried to kill himself. I ran into my VW with his old 88, and both my legs were broken and my hip was crushed. And yet, I would not have traded that year for the world because of how real God became to me and how much peace and comfort he gave me even through the really, really hard stuff. So, wow. Yeah,
that's the thing. See, well, now I say that the bigger problem you have, the more opportunity is there, for God to show his power. And that's the thing that my life was. It's a pretty tough journey. It's a pretty incredible journey, and yet at the same time it's very tough. I was placed in numerous times in the circumstances that were very, very desperate, hopeless completely. And that's the miracle that the Lord got me out of those circumstances in the most astonishing ways. Yeah.
After this, I want to talk about how one of those, and that is how you got to California from Latvia. That's an amazing story.
Lithuania.
Thank you. Hello.
Well, Latvia borders with us. You are close.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about a lot of other things too, okay?
Yeah,
sure. Okay, this is Steve Campbell at KOWS. I'm so glad that you joined us, and we have so much to talk about after this. We have Inga with us today, and Inga I met just this morning, but I feel as if I've known her my entire life. So Inga was in an accident that took away both her legs and left one, your right or your left?
Left arm.
Left hand completely, not paralyzed.
It is paralyzed,
Paralyzed, okay. So what brought you to California?
Well, that's the story.
Okay, I love the story.
Yeah, well, I was really determined to rebuild my life. My ultimate goal, my ultimate vision was to rebuild the life after the crash. I said, I will create the destiny that I desire. My God, he's going to bless me with it. And so my first goal was to walk because I thought, well, for me, in order to be able to get out of home, to go to work, I need to be able to walk because Lithuania was inaccessible at the time.
Inaccessible?
Inaccessible. There was I could not get out of the house. I could not even take a shower independently.
There was no wheelchair.
Totally. Yeah. So I was pretty imprisoned by the walls of my own room.
Oh my gosh.
I could not even get out of my room for a long time.
How old were you when this happened?
22.
22.
Yeah. So it was a prison, literally. And I desired to live dynamic, active, independent life. That's what I was aiming for. And so
with no legs, a paralyzed arm.
Right. Well, see, because I did not consider myself disabled. I never, even for one moment, I saw myself as a disabled.
Even though you didn't consider yourself to be disabled.
Right.
Wow.
Technically, of course, I'm a person with disability because I'm in a wheelchair. I don't have my legs and only one arm.
But you didn't see yourself
Not at
that
all.
way.
Not even for 1 second.
Can you talk about that?
Of course, of course.
Let's talk about that now, and then we'll go back to California, because this gets so exciting to me. Here you are, no legs, paralyzed arm, and yet you say to yourself, wait a minute, I'm not disabled.
No.
How did you do that?
Because I don't know, I just disagreed. I did not want to live my life being imprisoned.
You just said, I'm not going to believe
I am not going to allow the circumstances to create a life like that. I'm not going to play around circumstances. See, in the cultural belief, let's say in my country, a lot of times people say, well, let's see what circumstances are going to be, and then we will see what we can do about this.
Okay.
I said, I am deciding what I want, and then I will change the circumstances so they will play around my goal. So I never aimed my goal depending on circumstances allowed me, because if I had done that, I still probably would be sitting in prison in my own. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Lithuania.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a belief that circumstances is changeable thing. They're created by other events, right? Some people did something, or you did something, and circumstances were created by the outside force. So I can create certain events which will redo those circumstances. If I'm clear, I don't know if I'm clear enough.
Yeah.
I said I will decide what I want, and then I will take action to get what I want, to achieve that. And circumstances will not be able to be the same if I will take action to change them.
And you make that decision before you even start.
Before I even started. Yes, it's all internal process.
It's all in your mind.
Right. So I never consider myself disabled. I said I will live as independent and as active as I desire to be. And I desire to live as everybody else.
As everybody else.
This accident is not the end, it's just the beginning.
Okay, so there you were in Lithuania.
Right.
And in a prison. What did you do? What did you do?
I decided that, my first step toward that independence is to be able to walk again. So I went to local orthopedic center, and interestingly, professor who is a specialist, and he looked at my records of the injuries and me, and he says, "What about your arm?" I said, "What about my arm?" "Well, can you use it?" I said, "No, I can't." And so he's like, "Well, it's impossible for you to walk. Your physical condition is too complicated for you to walk. And so you can't, it's impossible." And I looked at him like, "What do you mean it's impossible? How can you tell me that it's impossible if you haven't even tried to work with me? You don't know. How can you tell me it's impossible?"
Yeah.
So he was probably pretty shocked by my reaction, and he said, "Okay, come and we'll make your legs." And so I did come in, and I did walk. I did learn to walk, and I also learned to ascend and descend stairs.
Okay.
Just the way the sockets were made, it seemed like with every step I was stabbed by the sharpest knife. My whole groin area was like as if I was standing on the edges of sharp knife.
Oh, God.
And like after wearing prosthesis for about an hour and a half, I had open sores, blisters, my whole it was excruciating.
It was beyond,
But the interesting thing is that while I was walking, I was not thinking about how painful it is. I was thinking about the future, how exciting it will be when I will come back to my friends, when I will come back to my airport. I love my work. That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking of that time when I will get through this, nightmare of training, and when I will be able to walk, what my life is going to look like. And so I did implement my biggest dream. I came back to the airport, to the business lounge,
Go ahead.
as I promised to my friends. But then after 6 hours of wearing prosthesis, I woke up in the morning with purple thighs and open sores, and I said, if after 6 hours I cannot touch my thighs for a week, over a week, I can't possibly wear them daily.
Can you call me later?
And so I put them in the corner and I said, this is it. And I continued praying. I said, Lord, I trust you that the way my life came to this accident, to this crash, and I lost my legs, you will bless me recovering my life anyway. And so I continue praying, trusting that God, I don't know what way, I don't know when and how, but you will bless me to fulfill my dream. And then one day, as I was having my coffee, I get this clear thought, go worldwide, go on the internet and do the research, go seek help in other countries. And I thought, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I don't believe that all amputees worldwide cannot walk after they lose their limbs. So I went on the internet, and my English was not as good as today, so I held my vocabulary, and I basically was translating nearly every other word to actually grasp, what it was talking about. It was quite challenging. And so then after countless hours of research, understanding the prosthetic world and everything, I emailed 3 companies. And then on the next day, next morning, I received a response from Santa Rosa, California.
Santa Rosa,
California.
Little Santa Rosa, California. Wow.
Exactly.
A little enclave about 70 miles north of San Francisco.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, and this specialist seemed very caring, and he was interested that I was in pain. And to me, that was so surprising. Like, the person who doesn't even know me, he wants to help me. And he says, it's not supposed to hurt. And so we started emailing back and forth. And then in 2 weeks or so, after a week or 2 weeks, I don't remember exactly, he emails me saying, I'm scheduled to do the seminar in Turkey. So he said, if you would possibly come to Istanbul to meet me, I will evaluate you and your prosthetic legs, what's wrong with them. And Steven, right that moment, I knew that was the answer to my prayer.
That was the answer.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I did not hesitate at all whether I should go or not. I just knew I have to go.
Wow.
Yeah, there was a lot of opposition, and I saw the looks like as if I was crazy. To go in your position, to go to Turkey, to meet some American man whom you don't know.
6 hours away by flight.
Right.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, it's like, you are out of your mind. And I said, don't tell me what to do. I know exactly what I'm doing, and I will. And so I flew to Turkey to meet this American mysterious specialist. And so I met him there, and when he looked at my legs, he was horrified. He said, how could you possibly walk with them at all? He couldn't understand. Because the way they were made, it was like, how can you, it's like it must stab you every step.
He was horrified at the prosthetics that you were using.
Right.
Okay.
He couldn't understand how could specialists possibly do it like that.
Yeah.
So then he said, let me try and see what I can do. So he adjusted them, and in several hours I stood up, and the first time in 2 years I stood up with no pain.
No pain.
I just screamed.
And he just adjusted them.
Yes, he just adjusted them there. Yeah, so I just shouted out, no pain, and I was in tears nearly the rest of the day.
I'll bet you were.
Yeah, because so many professors, specialists said, you will never walk again, and it's supposed to hurt, you cannot do anything. And here's this person who in several hours, he does this miracle, literally. It was a miracle. And so that was the beginning of my beautiful, beautiful journey. And so then he was inspired by my great desire to walk, and so he said he'll do what it takes to help me. And so then he traveled to Lithuania to do the training in Lithuania, and so he made legs there for me. And then a few months later, he invited me to California. He said, come to California and I will make you legs as a gift, as a donation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so 3 years after the crash, I traveled alone to Santa Rosa, California.
Santa Rosa, California.
Yeah, to meet my dream, to meet my hope. Yeah.
And then what happened?
And so I spent here 6 months, and we worked very, very hard. It was very challenging to fit me. Besides, because I have only one functional arm, it was very challenging
Yes.
to how do you put them on?
Yeah,
It's very
yeah,
challenging.
yeah.
But this specialist, he was quite inventive. So invented how I would be able to put them on, and he showed me how to stand up and walk. And also another physical therapist also worked with me. So we had three of us, a team, three musketeers, as I say. And my dream came true. I returned back to Lithuania, walking again, having a pair of comfortable
Amazing,
prostheses.
the people that knew you.
Yes, yes. I met my mom at the airport standing. I hugged my mom standing. That was my dream. Yeah. So my impossible dream that used to be that I wanted to put them on, stand up by myself and walk. It became my reality. I was able to go out, put them on, dress up by myself, which I couldn't do before. I was told it's impossible.
To even dress yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing. I could just walk, take steps. So here I became fully independent and walking again. So it was...
So to listeners who have not been through what you've been through, but probably have been through their own hells themselves, what do you think is the key element or the key elements that helped you overcome your tragedy and transform your life? What were the key elements?
When I think of it, there are basically, like three components, if I can say it that way. First and foremost, I give the glory to my God, because
it starts with Him.
Absolutely, because the way, the answered prayers and the blessing that I had, along the way, and circumstances the way laid out, it was out of my control. It was my Lord. He blessed me with courage, with strength, with ability to achieve the goals that I wanted. And then also unshakable faith, that the faith that is unwavering. It doesn't matter how desperate your situation is. It doesn't matter what circumstances say to you. It doesn't matter what people say. It does not matter what facts actually say, because when I was aiming for my goals, the facts, the circumstances, the people, everything around screamed at me, Inga, you're out of your mind. It's impossible. What are you doing? And my faith, that was the only thing that held me above. And I said, no, it's possible. I will do it. I will be able to do it. And then the other important is self-management. What I call self-management is manage your mind, is manage my perspective, is manage what I focus on. It's a discipline of your mind, basically, the attitude and everything. And then personal action, I work very, very, very hard. I never question myself whether I will have to work hard. I never question myself. I go beyond and above, in my action when I have to do something.
So I guess the next question I want to ask Inga is where do you get, or where do you receive that kind of strength or that kind of faith? Does it just, where does it come from? How do you...
where is it?
Yeah, where does it come? How do you get that kind of... I went through my accident, but if I went through what you went through, I didn't know if I'd have that kind of strength or faith. And I'm sure a lot of my listeners would say, I don't know if I went through that, I'd have that same... Where do you get that kind of strength or faith? Does it just... How do you do that?
It's the most common question that I get from people when they hear the story.
Yeah.
To be honest, there were so many valleys and deserts that I thought I could not do this anymore.
So you did have times when you were depressed and angry and the whole thing, all the plethora of feelings.
Yes.
Okay, so what did you do with those?
Jesus Christ. That's the answer. Really, it's not a fairy tale. It's not a joke. It's not some, mystical thing. There were times when I did not want another day to come. Truly, I say that sincerely. I did not want.
You told me during the break that at times you almost envied your boyfriend.
I envied, that he was not here to go through the anguish that I did. And I prayed and I said, Lord, I don't have the strength. Please give me the strength. Please give me inner strength to get up in the morning. Give me the desire.
Just get up, yeah.
Yeah, just get out of bed. I need your strength. And, you know, the interesting thing is that a lot of times I would receive peace right there in the prayer. Or in the morning I would wake up and I feel like I want to fight for my life and I have the energy, I have determination. That's where it comes from. It's literally is the prayer, and that's what I stand on. You know, my faith.
Just that one word, Jesus Christ.
It's Jesus Christ. He's the one. He's my rock, and it's unshakable rock. See, that's the thing. If you would put your faith on circumstances, on something that you can rely on, like money, people betray you.
Yeah, sure.
Money, you can lose money. Circumstances will change.
Yeah.
People hurt you. You know, everything, you know, will go away. And then if you build your faith on something that is so unreliable, what happens to you when it breaks down? You break down too. Yeah. The faith on Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is going to be here all the time. And the prayers, they do get answered. So that's my foundation. And then, see, because I have faith, I have a strong perspective about things. The way I looked at the accident, the way I looked at the future was much different than other people did. While other people thought, this is my destiny to be disabled, my faith said, no, this is just the beginning. My God has the circumstances in His control, in His power. And because He does, I will have a blessing. Yeah. And so, you know, like as if it was like, if somebody would give you a palette, color palette, right? And say, you can palette, right? You can draw only gray house. And I would say, no, wait a minute. I can draw, there is yellow, I can draw the sun. I can draw garden, I can draw trees, I can draw clouds, everything. What are you talking about? That's the thing. My faith empowered me to have a perspective. See, it's one of my, like, what I call a power tool. It's nearly as the same foundation as the faith. Yeah. Is because depending on how we look at the circumstances, we will make decision what we're gonna do. If I had accepted the belief that I am predestined to live in an imprisoned place, disabled, right? I would not have taken the action to change my circumstances.
That's right. That's right.
I would not have done anything to improve my life because my belief will set already my mindset, this is just how it is, period. You are disabled. Also I heard, He broke your destiny. That's a very common thing.
Hear that from people.
Yes. He broke your destiny. It was like, no, He did not break my destiny.
Yeah, okay.
You know? So if I had looked at it that way, I would have made totally different decisions. Yeah. So today, in addition to faith, I always control my perspective, how I look at the situation. And let's say if something would happen, and just imagine how it would change your how you look at the situation if I would ask you, is this a punishment or is this a lesson for you? Yeah. Does the situation show me that I'm a failure? Or does the situation show me that there is an area where I can improve myself so I can do better next time? Is this the end, or is this the beginning of something that really needs to take place in my life?
And you decide.
Exactly. We always have a choice. Yeah. We always have a choice. There is a big, misconception or whatever, I would say, that people think and blame events for what happens to them.
Yes.
A lot of times when after the car accident, I would hear, this guy broke her destiny, this car accident broke her destiny. When they look at me being unhappy, imprisoned, well, her destiny was broken by that event, right? Now, when my life is already fully restored, what do I get? People say, "Oh, she's unstoppable. She did this, she did that," right? But wait a minute. If I had not done anything, who we would blame for my life? Do you see that fine line?
Yes.
A lot of people blame the events, but the thing is that what we are going to do after that event, that's what will determine the quality of your life.
That's right.
If I had remained, being helpless, imprisoned, disabled, we would probably take a very convenient spot. The car accident broke her destiny. So, and nobody would blame me for not doing anything because my broken destiny. So it's very critical to understand that it's our choices that bring us to where we are in life.
What I'd like to do after this is talk about your mindset that you had when you began this journey way back when there in Lithuania and what brought you to where you are today. Can we do that?
Yes.
Let's do that. Okay. Well, listener, I'm so sick. We have Inga with us, and Inga is just sharing some amazing thoughts and feelings about what happened to her. Inga, tell me about your mindset that you had before your journey began to restore. What happened to you?
Well, everything started in the moment when my physical therapist brought x-rays, and she looks at me with this astonishing look, and she says, Inga...
This was after the accident?
Yes.
Okay.
It was just maybe a month since the accident. I was at the rehab center. And she said, Inga, do you know that you were born under the lucky star? And I'm like, really? Tell me about it.
And then you're in the bed with no legs and a paralyzed arm.
And she tells me I'm under the lucky star.
Yeah, hello.
And so she says, no, you don't understand. I looked at your x-rays of your neck, and it was nearly broken. She said, if you had turned your head a little bit slightly different angle or a little bit stronger, she said, you would be paralyzed up to your neck. You would not be able to move your arms. And that moment, my question, God, where were you when we hit that light pole? I was like, okay, it is literally a miracle. Not that I just survived, but it could have ended much worse.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And then on the next day or so, we saw a young guy who was fully paralyzed because of, injury. And so I had this thought, this is what could have happened to you. Completely paralyzed, not able to even speak normally. And, to me, that was an eye-opening. Wait a minute, the way my injuries are, I'm so blessed. I can speak. I can think clearly. I have that one arm, so I can do things. I can figure out how to do things with that one arm. I can move. Then I'm going to go get prosthetic legs and I will walk. And to me, that was a total mind shift of appreciating what you have instead of grieving and thinking about what you have lost. It's what you make out of what you have. That's where the power is, to focus on what you've got and do the best with what you've got.
And let me insert something here that is so exciting, and I was sharing this with you off the air. When you have that mind shift, and it's what I call when you lock onto those new messages, the feelings follow those beliefs. The feelings don't come first like they used to think. The feelings follow the beliefs. Let me give an example that I love to share with people. Let's imagine that you and I had known each other for years and we have been dear friends and all this, and one day I show up at your front yard with a shovel. I say, hi Inga, hi Steve, how are you? Good to see you. I'm going to go to your backyard and dig a hole. And you say, that's kind of weird, but okay. So I go to your backyard, start digging this hole in your backyard. And you're watching me dig the hole, and you begin developing these beliefs. Let me see. Steve and I have been friends for years. He knows it's my birthday today. He knows I love trees. That's what he's doing. He's planting a tree in my backyard, so he's digging a hole. Oh, Steve, you're just such a loving guy. You're so nice. Come on, sit Mary over here. We'll have pizza together tonight, and we'll talk, and we'll play bridge, and we'll have some good times. Steve, I just love you. You're so sweet. Okay, so that's one scenario. Okay, the other scenario is we hate each other. We hate each other. I don't know why, but we do. And one Saturday morning, I show up with a big shovel. I say, "Hi, Inga. Hi, Steve. I'm going to dig a hole in your backyard." And you say, okay. So I go to your backyard, start digging this hole, and you watch me dig the hole. And this time your beliefs are completely different. Yeah. Your beliefs are that I'm digging the hole to bury you in it. Okay? Now, watch this, Inga. Same shovel, same Saturday morning, same backyard, same Inga, same Steve, same hole. Mm-hmm. Completely different beliefs.
Exactly.
Completely different feelings.
Exactly.
And that is what your life shows.
Mm-hmm.
Here you are, and yet you're taking a situation that would destroy so many, and you're saying, no, wait a minute. This is not the end. This is the beginning. And I love to tell my audiences, do you know when your life just began? Do you know when your old life just ended? About a half a second ago. Do you know when your new life began? About a half a second ago. And your new life starts every second of your life. That's exciting. That's what you've locked onto. And you're sitting here in a wheelchair, but I've never seen such life in a person's eyes as yours. Wow.
Thank you.
So how do you get that mindset?
It's again, our perspective is built on belief. Mm-hmm. You know, it's all in the belief, and then
not in the feelings,
no,
the beliefs,
no.
And the feelings, because the feelings go up and down. Feelings are crazy. You notice that?
Right.
You wake up in the morning, and what am I feeling this way for? What's going on? Feelings are nuts, but they're based on your beliefs.
That's the thing. It's like, you know, the foundation is the belief. What I believe about my circumstances, what I believe about my future, what I believe about my past, the car accident, what do I believe about it? I believe that it's going to bring glory to the Lord because I am empowered by Him, right?
So you're saying that losing your legs, using the use of one of your arms, being what you've been through, is worth it because it gives glory to the Lord?
I tell you honestly, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And I totally agree.
I truly, I would not have changed anything. I'm happier now than I was before the car accident. Truly, I sincerely say that.
Say that again.
I'm happier today than I was before the car accident.
How could that possibly be true?
It is true. I sincerely say that. It's difficult to comprehend it because...
Or explain it even.
Because I gained so much more after the car accident.
Because of the accident.
Because of the accident. The faith that I got.
Yes, yeah.
And the amazing changes in my life and what I have learned, who I became today, it's a whole different thing. And so I don't think I would change, my journey if I had a chance to go back many years ago and say, give your legs back.
Yeah.
But no, I would not change it. So. And going back to, there is one, couple of things to that question. What was the mindset, right? So from that realization, I decided that I will focus on what I have, and I will appreciate what I have, and I will make my life beautiful with that which I have. And then going back to the mind and how our brain responds, as long as we tell ourselves what we can do or what we cannot do, that is actually going to be the truth. The interesting thing is that since after the crash, I was so injured that I could not sit up from the lying position in bed. I had to wait to ask my mom to sit me up, or in the middle of the night to ask my mom or somebody who was with me to help me roll over on this side because I was not able to. And so 6 months passed, 7 months passed, and I still was asking my mom to help me to sit up from the lying position. And then one day I was hit by the lightning wait a minute, I'm tired of keeping asking for help. I can do this. I should be able to do this. As soon as I changed my belief about what I can, I figured out how to sit up from the lying position.
You found a way.
I found a way. And that's the trick. Our mind can be...
Isn't that exciting? Isn't that exciting? Yes, that's the way the mind's job is to find a way to do it when you say, I can.
Exactly.
Isn't that exciting?
Yes, and that's the thing, that asking a powerful question yourself, like, if I never allow myself to ask myself, can I do this? Is this possible? Because if the situation is too difficult, it's too complicated, my brain will immediately say, no, it's not.
That's right.
I ask myself, how? It's a very simple thing. It's a very simple question. How can I?
How can
I? So
and
that's
your brain sort of sits up and looks for ways.
Right, exactly, bingo.
Yeah.
When I was in the orthopedic center, my mom was not able to be with me anymore. Usually she would help me to dress up, and then she would make me breakfast and all of that. When she was no longer there, so I had the choice either to ask a nurse to help me to do the sandwich. Nobody does sandwich with one hand, right? And it's pretty complicated because it was not pre-cut. I had to cut the bread. I had to cut all the ingredients myself with one hand. So I can ask the nurse, or I can do it myself. And in my mind, I was, okay, if I will ask the nurse, it's going to be much easier and faster. However, I will maintain my dependence on somebody else. My ultimate goal was to be independent. Therefore, I will do whatever it takes to find a way. How can I do this myself with one hand? And I will never forget those moments when I take my ingredients for the sandwich and I look at them and I ask myself, okay, Inga, how can you possibly do this with one hand?
With one hand.
And I would not have breakfast until I make it. I would be hungry if I did not make it. So I'm pretty stubborn when I'm determined.
Yeah.
And that's what helped me, that's what settled my mindset about every areas of my life. Since then, I never asked myself, is it possible? Is it possible to go to America to establish yourself when you have nothing but your luggage? No. If I had asked myself that question, there is no way I would travel, But I asked myself, how can I? What are the ways? Where can I find resources? So I always ask myself a question that is solution-oriented.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing that empowered me. So mindset that I can, then empowering questions, how can I? Yeah. And, belief, the perspective.
I was thinking, this is January the 6th.
Right.
And it's the first week of January, and we all think New Year's resolutions, et cetera, so forth. I'm just wondering, today, as so many people set New Year's resolutions and goals, but they meet hardships along the way, and I read a study just recently, only 8% of the people who have resolutions ever meet them. Yeah, and most of them give up. What do you say to us and all of us, you and me and everyone, meet the hardships? What do you do with that? Why do you give up so soon? And what can we do to stop that? And what have you done?
Yeah, it was, when we look at the goals, and so passion and that excitement when we set our goals most likely is going to fade away.
That's right. The feelings fade away.
Right, yep. Right. The obstacles, the difficulties, they will actually will really will make them fade away. So, yes. What sustains that having you achieving that goal anyway is the commitment.
The commitment.
The resolve to make it happen no matter what, and taking consistent action. Understanding that it's a choice. See, that's the thing. Life happens, and many circumstances, come in our lives, and many events. It's understanding that it's the choice to be resilient and the choice to give up. It's a choice to blame somebody. We have a choice to blame this person and that person did this to me and whatever. And a choice to take responsibility, understanding that I made certain steps to get to that point. So because I was so stupid to make those steps to bring myself to that point, I will make different choices from now on, and I will go on. It's the choice to never give up. It's a choice. It's a personal choice, exactly.
And it's not just a one-time choice. It's sometimes you have to make them many times a day.
Right.
Don't give up.
Exactly. Exactly.
And what's so exciting about the brain is when you say that, the brain just says, "Oh, okay." Is what you are saying true? The brain doesn't even care.
Right.
All the brain cares about. So when you say, "I'm locking on to this new way of living," I'm locking on to this, and that brain says, "Okay."
Okay.
And you know, there's a negative and a positive aspect to this. When I taught math, one of the students came to me after the first day of class. She sat down across from me. She was really young and very shy. She said, "Mr. Campbell, I'm so glad to have you as a math professor and so neat. But I'm a C student in math. I'm a C student. I've never gotten above a C." And I said to her, "Well, I used to be that way. So let's work together." So I worked with her. We got a tutor for her and all these wonderful things. She got an A in the first test. She looked at the test and she freaked out. She just went, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh." And then she looked at me and she said, "Oh, Mr. Campbell, this is a mistake." "What do you mean? What do you mean?" "I've never gotten above a C on a math test. You must have made a mistake. You must have missed some problems that I got wrong." I said, No, I graded this myself. This is an A. This is an A." So then she looked at it longer, Inga, and then she looked at me, and a big smile came over her face, and she said, "Oh my goodness, Mr. Campbell, do you know what this means?" And I said, "Yes, but you tell me." "This means that when I flunk my next test, I can still maintain my C." I said, "Sue, just get an A in every test." She said, "Oh, I can't." "Why?" "Because I'm a C student." And again, that's exactly what happened. She flunked the next test, she got a C in the course.
Right.
And I sat down with her with the A. That first day, I sat down with her with the A, and I said, "Tell me this, Sue. What would have happened if you had flunked this first test?" Do you know what she said to me? Without a moment's hesitation, you already know. She said, "Easy, I would have said like crazy, get an A on the next test. I'd have to maintain my C." I said, "Sue, just get an A in every test." She said, "I can't." "Why?" "Because I'm a C student. I don't have any legs. I have a paralyzed arm. I've always been this way. I'm too old. I'm too young. This is the way it is." And the brain just says, "Okay." Or we can say, "You know what? Even without legs, this is my new life. Even without an arm, I'm doing this and doing that." And what does your brain say? "Okay.
Let's
and
find
then
out the way.
the way.
Exactly.
Isn't that exciting?
It's, and see, a lot of times, why people give up. One of the reasons I believe why people give up is because when things happen, right, when it's difficult, when obstacles are facing you, when the hopelessness is facing you, it's very natural and easy to think about the moment, how difficult it is now at the moment.
Yes.
And I know you know this. The more we think about how difficult it is and analyze the problem from all other aspects, thinking how difficult and painful it is, the pain and the blackness will become even darker and more difficult, and then it's going to become unbearable and hopeless, and then it's just easier to just drop it. Somehow it happened that in my mind, I never think of how difficult it is at the moment. When I face the difficulty, when I face the despair, and I've had numerous desperate times, right? I think about the future. I think about in a way that, okay, how can I handle this difficulty in a way that I would be able to continue on my journey? I don't look at the problem as something that will stop me. I look at it as a challenge, and I ask myself, how can I overcome this? How can I get around this so I could continue on my journey? It's like a hurdle. You know, I used to be an athletic runner when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, in a hurdle, when there is an obstacle, right, you just jump over it and you continue on. You jump over it and continue on. That's how I look at difficulties. So it's important when the pain and the anguish come into your life, when you tell yourself, I can't do this anymore. The more you will say, I can't do this anymore, as you say, your brain will accept it and it's like, well, yeah, you can't.
You're
It's
right.
difficult.
Yeah.
So what would be the easiest way? Just drop it, period, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you say to yourself...
Which is what your brain wants you to do.
Yes, yes,
Keep
because...
you in your comfort zone.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We, all of us want to get away from pain and gain the pleasure, right? So it's easier to just drop it. But if you tell yourself, I can and I will find a way, and thinking about what's at stake if I give up, that's what held me up from giving up a lot of times. When I understand what's at stake, if I give up, is it going to make my situation better? No. Is it going to improve my life? No. How am I going to feel about myself if I give up? And I will have to face that situation over and over again, knowing that that situation has not changed. Why? Because I gave up on it.
Yeah.
So understanding what's at stake, that helped me, you know, that kept me moving, pushing forward through the breakthrough, through the obstacles. It's important what you say to yourself and where your mind is focused.
Yeah. You're a life coach, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you're also a public speaker.
Yes.
So how would I get a hold of you? What would I do if I wanted to talk to you?
Well, you can call me.
Okay. Could you give me your phone number?
Yes, it's 707-490-5145.
Okay. Do you have a website?
And yes, it's my full name, ingalizdenite.com.
Okay.
It's
spell
probably,
that?
yes, probably it's going to be complicated. So it's my first name, I, N, Nick, G, George, A, Apple,
Okay.
L, Love, I, Z, Zebra, D, David, E, East, N, Nancy, Y, T, Tom, E,
Okay.
ingalizdenite.com.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Cool. Now you're writing a book, aren't you?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Hopefully I'm coming to the end already. Yes. Well, it's called Unstoppable, and it is going to be like 3-in-1. The book is going to be probably like your personal coach, and then people will be inspired by reading my true story, how I got, you know, how I got through the obstacles and rebuilt my life.
Yeah.
And then I also have chapters that are more like coaching already, because a lot of times people say, well, yeah, because you are so strong, that's why you were able to do this.
Oh, yeah. If it happened to me, I wouldn't be able to do it, but you just happen to be so strong. What do you say to that?
Oh, I can't. I feel like I have volcanoes staring up in me when I have people say that. Yeah. My response is, no, you would. You would. All you need to do is just have a source of your strength and then know exactly what to do. And so...
one of my favorite persons was Corrie ten Boom, who was a Jewish Christian who was caught up in the Holocaust during World War II. And her father perished, her sister perished in, I think it was Auschwitz. And before the Holocaust happened, they sensed what was going on. And she went to her father, who was also a Christian, and she asked him, how am I going to get through this? What am I going to do when they come knocking at our door? And her father said, when you need a ticket for the train, when do you have to turn the ticket in? Well, just before you get on the train. Exactly. When that happens, God will give you whatever you need to get through it. And it seems like that's exactly what happened to you. Mm-hmm. God will give you what you need to get through it.
Yes. Wow. And He did.
So how, if I wanted you to come and speak to my organization, what would I do? How would I do that?
Just call me.
Just call you.
Yeah,
Again,
just
the
call
number
me.
is
707-490-5145.
Okay. So if you would like to leave your listeners or my listeners with something just to help them, what would it be, Inga?
I think I would like to emphasize two things. One is, first of all, trust the Lord your God, for He is almighty.
With
and
all your heart.
With all your heart, with all your mind, with all your essence, because He is all powerful and any circumstances can be changed by Him. Jesus Christ is not just a religious figure. He is truly alive and the prayers are answered in His name.
I love the fact that when I asked the question, what was it that got you through it, you didn't give me a principle. You didn't give me a set of rules. You didn't give me a set of steps. You simply said one word, Jesus Christ. And I've had the privilege of walking with the Lord for, 58 years now. And if there's anything I've seen, I shared this with you at lunch, it's number one, how sinful I am. But number two, how much He's forgiven me.
Mm-hmm.
And He keeps on forgiving me.
Right.
And He keeps on loving me. And He keeps on being my answer. And it sounds as if you're experiencing the same thing.
Right. I do. He's so awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being on my program.
One more thing I want to...
Yes, absolutely.
And I also want to share the second thing is that this is the beginning of the year, and of course there will be many troubles, there will be many various circumstances, and know that it's not what happens to us what determines our destiny, but how we look at it and then what we do about it later. It's our choice. We always have a choice what we are going to do about the situation. We have the choice to which shore we want to arrive, and it depends only on us which direction we will go. So I want to wish the listeners to choose to be strong, choose to be persistent and determined, and choose to be unstoppable.
And I can't say anything more than that. Thank you so much.